Jake Paul has come out, says he's going to go and do MMA for a major promotion. Says he's going to do his training at the AKA. Announcement coming soon. Now, Bellator's got a big event, right? We got a huge event, a huge weekend for fights. We got one going down on Amazon tonight. We got Bellator on Showtime tomorrow with McKee and Pitbull both going to fight, as well as Aaron Pico. And then we got the UFC and Dern's taking care of some business in what appears to be a rented out Apex. All right, great. But you got to look at all of these things, right? Because Paul, smartly, is playing with us to some degree. Paul does a very good job of giving us information to make us interested, but not giving us all the information, thus forcing us to talk about it. I hope you guys should learn a lesson from Jake Paul. That's how he does things, and it succeeded. Here we are. But I do want to ask you guys a question, right? Here's what we know. We know, using history as our trajectory for the future, that when Jake Paul tells us something, he's not kidding. When Jake Paul says something about himself, I'm going to go and do this, he's going to go and do it. Not to mention, he's going to do his training at the AKA. Now, that's interesting. If you guys will remember, Daniel Cormier, who has never broken character, never misbehaved in his life, was a commentator wearing the suit on the clock for the UFC, got up, left his spot, and went and got in Jake Paul's face. I mean, do you guys remember this? That wasn't an act. It wasn't a work. Jake had said something about Daniel. Boom. Daniel saw him, went up to confront him about it. And however that went, whatever was said there apparently was very effective, because Jake did stop. He did not come after Daniel anymore. I would be curious as to what was said, but Jake gets credit for being respectful. He had his opportunity. Their Big Bear is face to face, whatever they said, but he did stop. Now Jake says he's going to go and train with him. And he didn't use Daniel's name, but he said the AKA. You guys understand that? You know what that means. You know who's there. You know who the leadership over there is. So I think that's a good thing. I think that's a real positive. Not to mention, if that wasn't true, we would have heard out instantly. AKA would have already spoken up. Javier and Daniel and Islam and the boys, they would have already told us. So now I think the question just comes down to, where's Jake going to go? And we're all just going to guess. Somebody's going to be right. But what would your guess be? What do we know as fact? Well, we know Jake has been talking about the UFC for a meaningful period of time. We know Logan spoke to Dana White publicly about his brother coming into the UFC, and we know Dana White weighed on it by saying, I'll never say never. Okay. None of that's huge commitment, but we know that that happened. In a little bit lesser news, if you'll remember, or you're an aficionado, a big fan like I am, you'll remember when the PFL was speaking about Jake. And the PFL was very clear to say, yes, we would like him to come over. Now, the PFL largely is a league. They do tournament-style format. That's not an absolute that has to be, but it sounds as though Jake would not enter a tournament. That's just my guess. If he did, that'd be pretty cool. But I don't know that I believe he's going to enter a tournament on his first time out. It's going to be a one-off. So where would he fit within the PFL? Anybody's guess. Now, does his boxing over on Showtime? Showtime hosts Bellator. It's the same people. The same people that Jake is working with for marketing, for PR, for production, with the boxing, are the same folks with Showtime that also represent the Bellator. So I'm just saying, if Jake was to sign somewhere else, and everybody's going to want him, right? This is going to be a good get. I will be highly interested in how this contest goes. Not to mention, the perfect opponent for right now for Jake is Dylan Dennis, who's under contract with Bellator. So that would be a strong leading candidate. Do you want to know who Jake needs to speak to? He needs to speak to One Championship. I could see something very, very interesting with Jake and One Championship. And don't forget, guys, and I keep talking to you about One. I want you to come on board. I'm always filling out what's going over with the boys in Vegas, with the boys in San Jose, with the boys in Florida, right? Always. But there's something going on with the boys in Singapore, too, and I don't want you to miss this. This is now on Amazon Prime. This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to get boned up. And, guys, we're going to do a viewing party. Going to do a viewing party where we all watch this together. I'm going to be your commentator. We're going to get a One Championship. You guys are watching. I'm watching it, and I am going to commentate it for you guys. I hope that you think that is a fun thing. But so I want you to take the time to learn some of the characters, and they're new. Eddie Alvarez has just revealed that he's a free agent. You then have Demetrius Johnson. At one point, Vitor Belfort was one championship. That relationship appears to have ended because Vitor's now boxing, but one championship found its way to America. So we're going to need American names is what I'm sharing with you. We're going to need American characters is what I'm sharing with you. Rich Franklin, a vice president at one championship, has announced that one is going to come to American soil, right? They're on TV right now through Amazon Prime, but they're actually going to do an event on American soil, which just leads you to believe they're going to use some Americans. It could be a very helpful place for Jake Paul. And we're going to know where Jake stands. I've tried to tell you guys, hey, this is a tough guy. Don't dismiss. You're seeing him knocking people out, and then we're trying to dismiss that. Well, that wasn't a boxer. That guy wasn't young enough, or that guy wasn't training enough. Whatever it was, we're trying to dismiss it. What I'm trying to share with you is that's one element. If you want to tease an undefeated guy, if you like have some rhetorical ability to make some fun of somebody who's undefeated with world-class athletes, okay, go ahead. But it's one realm of it. This is a wrestler. This is not a boxer. He's become a boxer, but he's a wrestler. From the state of Ohio, which happens to take wrestling as seriously as any state out there. Top 10 most difficult state to get on the placing stand in all of America is Ohio. So MMA is much more fit for what Jake Paul actually is comfortable with, and we're going to know. He goes into the AKA, there's a lot of eyes there. There's a lot of media that pops in. The word is going to get out. We're going to find out where he stands. We're going to find out just how good of an idea is this. And I see where Bellator would be a leading candidate. I see where the PFL is going to want to find an exception. I can see where Dana White might throw something on the table. I really could. I think Jake is going to be in a very good spot. I think the tease that he did is very helpful. I think that Jake needs to make sure to consider one championship. And let's see where that all goes. Let's see where everything lands. But the talks have begun. Jake put out the tease. He didn't give us enough information, but he never does. So here we are, left to guess.